I'm Jason Brown with Laughing Parrot Productions and Sierra Wave Media, and I have the awesome privilege of having CHRIS Leonard here. CHRIS, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me, Jason.
You bet. Now, CHRIS is a part of a really wonderful foundation out of the Crowley area.
Correct.
Right? And what is the official name?
We are the Crowley Fish Foundation.
They do a lot of things with youth, but before we get into that and all the cool things that are happening in the foundation, we're going to talk about a river cleanup project, and I believe, is this the 11th year?
11th annual.
Okay, so I'm going to give it to CHRIS. Take it away. Tell us about the river cleanup.
It's good stuff. So this isn't my idea. I didn't come up with this invention. I'm actually going to credit it with Joe Lemire is the one who organizes the Rush Creek cleanup up by Silver Lake Resorts with the help of Andrew Jones. And he just hosted recently back in September, the 19th annual river cleanup up there. So I got the idea from him that, we need some tender loving care down here in the Bishop area, also on the Owens River. So it actually started, Jason, it was back, I suppose, 2014, I was duck hunting down here, and I found some shells that were on the river, and I thought, well, this is foolish for a duck hunter to advertise their location for whacking birds. So I picked them up, and then I figured, well, I'm not going to be the only one who picks up these shells. I'm going to get some help. So I actually reached out to California Waterfowl Association. We have a great chapter here in Bishop. Joe Pesci, Manny, Fred, right? The usual misfits that run that.
Yeah.
Right. We know them. A group of guys.
Absolutely.
And I said, I'm going to pick up some shells on the river. I'm not going to do it alone. And they said, we like that idea a lot. So the first year I went out and organized this, and we had maybe 30 volunteers, and we picked up a boatload of trash. And I got some ideas from Joe, if I feed the people, and they're going to get more people to come. And if I hit up some swag and give out some cool raffle items to volunteers just for participating, they'll show up. So I got some funding. I hit up a couple organizations, and we got breakfast provided and lunch provided. And I got some cool swag, fly fishing rods and spin rods and nets.
Sweet.
That's some fun stuff you can win. That's not why people show up to the event.
No, but it's a good benefit.
It's fun to win things.
It is.
We all like it when a number is drawn, right?
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Sure. Right. So I got the idea from Joe and just from Joe Lemire and hit up Joe Pesci and said, I want to do this. And he said, yeah, have at it. We'll support you. So it was a great event the first year, and then DWB approached me the second year and said, CHRIS, we actually have to have you sign a liability release form, and you're on our property. Yeah. So I said, good idea, guys. Right. So I ran through the proper channels, and DWP has certified us, and every year they're very supportive of these efforts. And it's grown over the years. And, I started, 25, 30, 40 people. I've had upwards of maybe 2 years ago, there were like 130, 140 people that showed up to this event. So the cool thing is that people care. And so I have found that when you give people the venue, in order for them to help, they will help. A lot of people just need to find that venue for them to be able to help. So when I organized this, I've been really good getting word out. Obviously, television is a great venue for getting word out, and radio interviews in the past, and the local newspapers have all been.
We'll be on the radio too.
Good. Awesome, right? And to hear my voice on the radio also. So
yeah,
it's the local media has been really supportive of this, as long as other media also, as well as like Western Outdoor News and obviously social media. Yeah. So it's grown, and it's actually, I took this to a whole nother level a couple of years ago. I figured, let's make this a social event too. So I've had conservation organizations show up, and they set up their easy ups and their tents. And so Trout Unlimited will be there, and who else can be there? CWA that I mentioned already, California Waterfowl Association. Cal Trout, Kern River Conservancy, Friends of the Inyos should show up. There's going to be a variety of fly fishing casting clubs from Southern California that are very supportive of this event. Pasadena. And
do they do like informational booths and stuff like that?
Absolutely. Cool. Yeah. And I think that's a great thing, right? That you can go and question these people about, because conservation isn't a one and done. No. Conservation is a let's get this ongoing and keep this thing running. So I've been told, and lots of people will say this, it's usually the keyboard commandos on social media. They're like, oh, I pick up trash and I go, and it's too bad we have to do this. And sometimes there's some profanity thrown in there, and why do these people do this stuff? And the truth of the matter is, it's unfortunate that we have to have these events, but we have to have these events.
Yeah. We have Clean Lake Tahoe. We've done Clean Lake Mary. I'll be honest with you. There's been times on accident I've lost things. I haven't intentionally dropped things into the lake. But I agree, it's unfortunate that we have to have them, but it's good that you do have them.
Right.
Right. I always believe in packing out more than you bring.
That's it. And a lot of people are really good at that, and I do believe that also. So, and Joe Lemire actually mentioned something that he noticed with the Rush Creek cleanup is that over the years it started to get cleaner and cleaner. And he has a phrase that I'm going to steal from him that says that people find a place the way that they leave a place the way they find it. And so when you find a place clean, you tend to leave it clean. When you find it dirty, you tend to find it dirty. Rush Creek cleanup was kind of like an eat off that creek bed this last September. It's spotless there. The usual misfits, a couple of spent worm containers and some some trilene hanging on the trees and, the beer bottle here and there, but it was just insanely beautiful how clean it was. Here at Bishop, the issue that we have in Bishop is we have a lot more traffic, right? And so, with a lot more traffic, there's a lot more trash.
We get that year round.
Right. There is no break also. And
No.
so, and then I'm not the only one who does this. It's, I believe, there's the Great Sierra Cleanup event. There's a couple others that also, and this is not my monopoly. This is not a Chris Leonard exclusive event, nor it ever should be, right? So anyone is free to organize any event they ever want. And
Just
so
make sure you go through LADWP.
go through the proper channels.
Exactly.
Right. And so, funding is good. I mean, it doesn't cost a whole lot of money, but, you got to buy sandwiches and you got to give people the cold beverage and, give them an award maybe if they win the prize or something. And it's just, I think the really cool thing also about this is there's also an element of ecotourism. And as far as our volunteers, Jason, that show up, we get a variety. We get a lot of locals who show up because it's important. We live here, right? This is our community.
Yeah, it's home.
And we get a lot of Southern Californians, and I've had people from the Bay Area come too, and they recreate in our land, and it's ownership. I'm going to say it how it is, right? If you are out there volunteering for the land, the public land, you are taking ownership in the public land that we're all legally entitled to recreate in. And so a lot of people feel the need, like I said earlier, if you provide the venue, they'll show up to give back. And so I'd say at least half the volunteers at any given cleanup are out-of-towners. And to me, that's really cool because it's ecotourism, right?
Yeah.
And these are people that are willingly driving, 250, 300 miles to spend several $100s to clean up someone else's trash. It doesn't make any economic sense, right? I taught economics at Mammoth High School for a long time, and that doesn't make any economical sense. It's a feel-good thing.
They love it here.
They love it here.
Yeah.
They love it here. We have millions of people that come through our part of literally, obviously, our part of the world, and a lot of people want that sense of ownership. I got regulars. I'm going to give a call out to Nancy, she's been every single 11th. She'll be the 11th year in a row here, right? She hasn't missed one. David Hernandez, unfortunately, God bless him. We lost him. He was what did David's job do? He was he worked in penitentiaries as a police officer there, and he died of a heart attack last year, right? So this will be the first one he missed because the guy left us, unfortunately. I love David. He was a fly fishing client of mine and a great guy, but he never missed one either. And so I see, the usual misfits that show up to these events, and it's awesome. And even last night, I raced down from Mammoth High School and talked to high desert fly fishers in Apple Valley. It was a loony day. And then
Wow, you really went the distance.
sometimes I wonder where I get percentage, though. I'm not gonna lie to you about it. I'm not gonna lie to you about that. Right, so
That's the distance,
maybe
man.
his eyes are bunny running off with 6 cups in it. It's also here.
Apple Valley, back to Mammoth. Okay.
We're not even going to talk about the Chowlity for concerts and fishing national,
Yeah.
but you know that. Anyways, coming back to the point, these guys in the fire station where they held the event last night. I mean, they want to come up and they want to participate and they love this. And then they're telling me about their local river cleanups that they do down there in Southern California. So again, there's just people want to help.
And the camaraderie. Yeah.
Camaraderie is huge. I had it in February for a long time. And I realized that February, maybe the weather can be questionable, as we know, right?
Yeah.
And it got bumped to, I want to say April or May. And then I discovered it was too hot in May. And then it got moved. It can be definitely moved to November, October last year, which is perfect. So for those of you guys that are still undecided if you're going to come on up, you can come on up and you can help us pick up trash and socialize Saturday. And then
Where are they meeting?
we're meeting. That's a great question. Right?
That's my job.
Right. That's your job. We're meeting at 8 o'clock in the morning in the Pleasant Valley Campground that's just north of Bishop there at 395, and just look for the dumpster and the other 70 people that are standing around wondering where I am if I'm a couple minutes late. I probably shouldn't be, but it's going to be a lot of fun, and it'll be a good thing for everyone to show up. So the more people that can come, my phrase is the cleaner the river is going to be. So
I love it. Okay, we're gonna switch gears, and now you're gonna tell us about the association, the 501c3 that you just got established.
good thing we have a little bit of time here.
I think so.
Right. So this is a great story. This is a great story.
Because I say all kinds of stuff where you're doing fly tying with really cool things. So I really want the viewers to know what's happening there.
So viewers, don't go anywhere. Sit down. Right.
That's it.
Okay, all right.
Park it.
Right. This is a fun story. So I started fly fishing Crowley Lake. I want to say it was 11 years ago. I've been guiding in the area, a little backup here. So I came to Mammoth High School, was hired as an educator there in 2004, started guiding and fishing recently after that. And I went to Clearwater Lodge Guide School. It doesn't operate anymore up in Bernie Falls area. And a long time Mammoth local, Tom April. Do you remember Tom? Do you remember back in the days? Great guy.
It was right before me.
So he's an OG. And so he was one of the master guides there at guide school who was teaching us how to be better guides. And he was convincing me, you need to buy a boat. You start fishing Crowley. And I did not like the idea of fishing Crowley. Hot Creek is my place. I love it. I love rivers, right? I worked a long time ago in performance anglers at Joe Contaldi's shop in town, and way back in a long time. And Joe would always be like, Leonard, let's go fish on Crowley. And I'd be like, no, Joe, I don't want to go bobber fish. It's boring going to Hot Creek. And I went to guide school. And so Tom April told me, he said, you need to buy a boat if you really want to be a good guide and you start guiding on Crowley. And I said, I'm not buying a boat. 3 weeks later, I'm in Gardnerville writing a $3,800 check to an older individual up there, and I drive back with a 16-foot bass shocker.
Nice.
And I bought a boat, right?
Yep. That happens.
It had the original engine on it. You know, it tanked a couple times. I put the brand new 2015 Yamaha on it the next season. And I started to become really like, wow, now I know why people fish Crowley. All right. It's super fun. That bobber goes down. You get big fish. You know, they come up in dolphins, some of them, and you're hooting and hollering and getting sunburned. It's great. It's nice to have the diversity of the lake with the river. So I started to fish Crowley. And I was, you know, just drugged from the start, and I'm catching a lot of fish, all right? Like, my first season, I'm going out there, and it's not uncommon to have 40, 50 fish days, you know? It's like a lot of fish, okay? If you're in the right spot, the fish are there, okay?
Yeah.
Now, over the years, Jason, we started to see, and I say we, I mean, like, the community that heavily fishes and spends a lot of time on Lake Crowley, the numbers kind of like a downward slope, right? Well, we got 40 this season, now the average is about 35, now the average is about 30, and it really got concerning. All right. And so a few of us would complain to each other. Another, you know, good friend of mine and a local guide, he lives in Riverside, but he guides on the weekends, Ernie Golding, who guides Crowley exclusively. He'd call me up and be like, Leonard, the fish numbers are not looking great. And so I'd say, Ernie,
There's a decline in the fish population.
Decline in the fish population.
I got you. Okay.
Decline in the fish population, exactly it. Now, here's the math. The simple math says, okay, I have not become a worse guide, a less competent guide over 10 years.
Right.
Nor has Ernie, nor has anyone else.
Right.
The question is that we're not catching the same number of fish that were in there. So there's an article that was written, and it was published in the Sheet News, I want to say 3 Labor Day weekends back, headline, right? And it said, you know, people concerned about the fish populations of Crowley Lake.
I remember that.
Yeah, it got the attention.
No, I remember that. I really do. Yeah.
You know, and so at that point, people started to, like, you know, eyebrows raised, like, what are these guys talking about? And Crowley is, Ernie's, I'm going to take his quote now. Ernie calls the Crowley Lake the Queen Jewel of the Eastern Sierra. And there's an insane amount of truth to that. I would argue it's California's premier trout lake. If not one of the best ones in the entire Western United States. All right. It's so fun. And it's something a lot of us just, you know, it means a lot to us, to put it lightly. So in any event, we're watching the fish numbers on this lake kind of drop. And so this article came out. And at that point, DFW, Department of Fish and Wildlife, took note, and they said, wow, these guys have brought up a valid point. You know, there's fewer fish being caught on Crowley Lake. And they hired a temporary individual there who was creel counting, creel, C-R-E-E-L, meaning taking, you know, numbers of how many fish did you catch. And he was there on the docks every single day collecting information, and the numbers were grim. All right. I mean, people are like, dude, we're not catching anything. And once again, Ernie is a meticulous note taker, and he has years of all the data of all the fish that his clients have caught. And it's that downswing. And so at that point, red flag. Right? Crowley's not producing the fish. Here's a major attraction for tourism in the Eastern Sierra in summertime, right? I mean, if you think about the incomprehensible amounts of money
Father Crowley
that go into, right, what he set up, right? The dollars spent in the guests that come up. We're not just talking about, you know, hiring guides, but the people that don't hire guides that spend money in the hotels in Bishop, in Mammoth Lakes, in the campgrounds. You know, they dine, they shop in Max, and, you know, everywhere else, in Reagan's and Kittredge and Troutfitter. And so this is a big drive for our summer tourism.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's not the reason really why I feel this is so important. I think it's important just the next generation and having a sustainable fishery, right, that makes it fun for everybody. But we can't argue the truth of the importance of the economic importance of Crowley.
Right.
So a lot of people started to pay attention to this. And at that point, DFW, got to get my D's correct.
Yeah.
DFW put in a lot of effort to really stock Crowley heavily. And it showed. I mean, everyone's like, wow, DFW has done a killer job stocking Crowley Lake. And the numbers last year, upswing. Now we're seeing that there's a lot more fish that are being caught in Crowley Lake.
Okay.
It's great. And so jumping ahead here, Ernie and myself and a few others came together in our first meeting for the Crowley Fish Foundation on Zoom of May 2024. I think I posted something on Facebook like, hey, I'm going to start an organization. Who's in? This is literally how it started. All right, you got to be careful.
It's for the new world.
Sometimes you got to be careful what you wish for, Jason, because you just might get it, right? Yeah, I got the second job that's unpaid that I got to manage.
Exactly.
So in any of that,
I got another one for you too. I'll just stack on there. Unpaid job.
We'll talk about that another time. All right, I'm a busy person. I got to get out on Hog Creek, buddy.
Keep going.
All right. So, where was I in this conversation? We're having too much fun right now.
Yeah.
So in any event, I get on Zoom or on social media and a few hands raised, people I know like, hey, Leonard, I think that's a great idea. Yeah, man, let me help you out. And so I poached a Zoom account, right? Because some of our helping hands are Southern Californians, all right? And we had our first meeting in May 2024, and we said, we have no idea what we're going to do, but let's do this anyways. Now, let me take you that. So you don't want to come work with us? Here's entrepreneur, right? A 501c3.
This is what we're going to do.
High school educator, Chris Leonard. All right. Anyways, we'll chat later again. So the same way that I borrowed, and these aren't my original ideas, I'm not going to take credit for this. The same way that I borrowed the Owens River Cleanup from Joe Lemire, I got the idea of Crowley Fish Foundation from Bridgeport Fish Enhancement Foundation.
Sweet.
I got on their website, poking around there. I say, wow, these guys have raised $1.5 million in 21 years. Okay. It grabbed out, like blaring, like, wow, if they did that in northern Mono County, what's to stop us from doing this in southern Mono County? So we had our first meeting, and then we said, yeah, well, we're serious about this. Michael Leaders, who's a CEO, a kind of like head organizer of Valley Outdoors, was really helping us out at the time, and I was
Another great group.
And I was brought on actually as the secretary for Valley Outdoors. Right, so my plate's full, right? And so Michael really kind of steered us towards, what are we doing? And we started off like we got these ideas, and initially our plan is let's just raise a ton of money to buy fish. And so we're sitting around. We need to write some bylaws, all right? And so bylaws are a part of our organization.
Okay. Yeah.
And Joe Cataldi shows up to my house with Michael and Leaders and Hodges Glass. I'm a local, and we sit down to write the bylaws. And here's my high school teacher. The first time I've ever experienced AI, artificial intelligence. Myself, Joe walks in. His kid is finishing up his master's in IT up at UNR, and he says, "Well." He gave us this, the bylaws. It's all AI generated. I was super skeptical. I'm like, no, dude,
No, but it's on spot.
It was crazy.
I know.
Kids will write, 15-year-olds in my class will have like 16-page papers with semicolons and intense, academic vocabulary words that they have no idea what they mean. So I've always been really skeptical of AI being a high school teacher. The cameraman's even laughing now. These are true stories, okay? Here's my joke about being a high school teacher, all right? You guys listen, don't go anywhere. I feel like taking papers from some of these 15-year-old kids and, their names on it and handing it back and saying, I want you to find 5 words on your paper that you submitted that you don't know the meaning to and highlight that. So this is my perspective of AI being a high school teacher. I'm super skeptical of it, right? But Joe says, no, look at this and read this, all right? Now, a lot of bylaws for 501c3s are all boilerplate, same stuff.
Yeah.
Roll a president, dissolve what happens, conflict of interest statement, all this stuff. And I'm reading this saying, wow, we are saving lots of hours by not having to reinvent the wheel right now.
No.
We have to go in and edit it, right? And obviously read it and put in our own personal touch to it. But next thing you know, we have an operational set of bylaws. And the 4 of us are sitting at my dining room table. And Michael says, you guys need to have an event. And I'm like, that's kind of a good idea. And Valley Outdoors at the time was bringing up the Two Wolf Foundation from Montana. It's a fantastic organization. What is the individual's name who runs it? I forgot his name, but if you look at twowolf.org, twowolffoundation.org, I think, or his website, his organization exists to take traumatized veterans, combat veterans, and reintegrate them into society through sober, altruistic means of working in nature. All right, it's a great idea, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
no kidding.
all of us have the utmost respect for combat vets, right?
My God.
So they've done amazing things for us to be able to have this interview right now. And so Michael said, well, these guys were going to go down to Monachi Meadows and redo a USFS cabin down there, but they got smoked out because of the fire. So they said, we have to have something else for these guys to do. It's like, I got 5 vets showing up in a couple days. You guys want to take them fishing? Here's a bunch of fishing guys being asked this question. Like, yeah, we're taking them fishing. So we took these vets out on the lake, and I participated with also Disabled Sports, who's now Access Mammoth, they chose their name, right?
Yep.
To their Wounded Warriors program over the years. And some of the greatest days I've had is being on the lake and watching these vets crack a smile, after 3 days of fishing, because the fish they caught and have fun. And we went out with these guys from Two Wolf, and they just had the time of their life, right? And now we're this saying, you get more than you give. Now all of us are like, wow, this was really fun for us too.
Feeding you.
It fed us.
Yeah.
And
you're actually receiving more than you're giving.
Yeah. Correct.
Because it's just, that smile.
But so I took the money and ran with that though also, right?
Good.
I wrote a news article for one of our local papers and said, this is what we're doing, right? And all of a sudden people are like, these guys are kind of cool, right? This Crowley Fish Foundation wants to put fish in the lake and they're taking vets fishing. Next thing you know, we're tied up with the Bishop Paiute tribe and we're taking their kids fishing.
Yeah.
Right. And it's just like we had the funnest time on the Owens River a couple summers ago. Jarrett Coons, Jarrett's a local guy. Jarrett's a good dude. He's one of our board members. Turquoise. She's my favorite story ever of Crowley Fish Foundation so far. She's in the parking lot in this September back in 2024 over at the on Line Street at the Cultural Center, and she's got this really sad look on her face. This is how Jarrett told the story. I didn't see this, but Jarrett's telling the story here. And he said, "Why are you sad?" And Turquoise said, "Well, I'm a left-handed person. I have a hard time catching fish, right?
Yeah.
Fly fishing." And Jarrett, matter of fact, said, "I'm left-handed too. Don't you worry about it. We're gonna go out there and we're gonna slug on the day." Guess who caught the most fish on the Owens River that morning? Turquoise landed 7 fish.
Wow.
She's a rock star, right? I hope her mom watches this interview because now she's come to our fly tying clinics and we took the kids back out on Crowley Lake again this summer, and some of these kids are just eating this up. And so we started out, and I appreciate your guys' patience, me telling a short story a long way. But we started out,
Sit down.
right? Your beer, your Coke is still waiting there, right? Hear this out. You too can open up a 501c3 organization. This isn't my monopoly, right? So in any event, we've grown immensely from just wanting to raise money in order to stock fish for the lakes to now doing all these really cool community events. We had the Fly Time Claim to the Tribe. And then other members in town are like, well, can we have it too? So Steve down at the Bishop Country Club course opened up his doors also and said, invite the community.
Oh.
Mammoth says, well, let's do one up in Mammoth too. So we're doing all these really cool community events. And then the thing about a 501c3 is getting that 501c3 status is absolutely everything. And so as we continue to recruit help, and I'm going to encourage you guys to get on our website, crowleyfishfoundation.org. Take a look at who our team is. We've got some insanely brilliant people on our team, and the way that it's grown now into, we have committees established and set up and officially partnered with DFW and other scientists. And we have 2 lawyers that are volunteering pro bono, and everything's pro bono. Tax accountant pro bono. Tim Alpers is on our board, or not on our board, but an advisor.
Right.
We drug the fish
Alpers.
entrepreneur
Yes.
back into the fishing world.
Wow.
He's stoked on it. He loves it, right? I mean, we're like, Tim, no, you're not done yet, buddy. Okay, we could use your scientific help.
Remember, we're not worthy.
I feel that way.
Yes, no kidding. So you're saying Alpers. I'm like, we're not worthy.
Here's the argument we had over Zoom, right? So we're arguing over, do we get wild fish or sterile fish, right? And here's a high school teacher, arguing with the finance dude. And finally, one of the guys on the board spoke up and said, none of us are scientists. Why don't we get some scientists in here to make the scientific decision for us, right? Again, so someone had a bright idea that we all ran with. And so why not bring Tim Alpers back into this? And so with Tim working with us in Department of Fish and Wildlife, we have Emily Martin is one of our science advisors. She's working on her master's degree of fish science down at UCI, and she's running a survey right now, and she's up here a lot. We have
had her on the show, have we? Yes.
You had Emily on the show?
Yes, we have.
Great. Awesome. She will be at the cleanup. Come say hi November 1st and talk with her about her scientific study. I invited her with, obviously, the board's approval. Hey, Emily, would you like to be one of our scientific advisors, officially a part of Crowley Fish Foundation? And she said, yes, please. That sounds like a really great thing. And so we're getting all these people that are coming forward right now. And this unit that we have, right? Some people have said that, that kind of, I lit the fire to get this going, but I did. But then everyone else is fanning it. It takes a team. I mean, everyone else is fanning it. And some of the legal work that I had no clue about doing, Carl Lasky, one of our board members, was the one we were in a board meeting, and I felt super intimidated by a 501c3 1023 application to the IRS. Like, that's a big sounding, mouthful amount of words. And so I just randomly invited Carl. I mean, I know a lot of people, and Carl called me up afterwards and said, Chris, you seem a little kind of intimidated about the 1023 form. I say, Carl, I'm scared completely about the 1023 form. This is IRS stuff, right? Now we're playing with bigwigs. He said, I'll help you out. So we got on a Zoom meeting with Carl and I think Contaldi and myself, and next thing you know, this thing's done. And we run it past one of our legal advisors, Michael, too. We submitted to the IRS back in May of 2025. So this is 1 year after our first meeting, and they $600 fee, right? We've had a lot of volunteers, or excuse me, a lot of donors, right, on GoFundMe and our website that have kicked in, 20, 100, whatever they can, 500. We have a few of those, for these fees that we need to get up and running. So the IRS charges $600. I submitted, the payment button on the website, and the immediate response was about 186 days out until approval is average.
Oh, yeah.
So I was targeting Thanksgiving. All of a sudden, about a month ago, I go to the post office box. We have a P.O. box, right? We're big boys. We're all grown up, right? And grown women too, now with Emily on board. And I open up my P.O. box and it's IRS. And my first thought is, dude, great, awesome, man. A freaking property tax bill. The last thing I want to deal with after teaching kids all day. I go home, I put it on the table. I open it up like 45 minutes later, and it's the IRS saying, congratulations, we have just approved you full 501c3 status.
You sat on it. You could have been happy 45 minutes earlier.
I was stunned. I'm looking at this. I had no words.
I do that when I get those letters. It's like, I gotta know exactly what they're saying right here, right now. Oh, okay.
I was speechless, Jason. I took photos of it. I sent it to the entire board. They all replied like, wow, like we're 501c3 status right now. Cool. And what that means for those unfamiliar with it is now that donors have benefits of writing us monetary donations for tax benefits, and so and we can now start playing with bigger players also,
Yeah.
and so
It's a write-off.
it's a great thing. It makes us feel really good to know that we're 501(c)(3), and so our finance committee, of which I'm not a part of, we have 6 committees, and there's only so many hours in the day. They're going to talk about how to start doing. I'm finance. I'm sorry, the fundraising, the fund development committee is going to talk about how to start chasing down all these dollars. Any of you can donate to us.
Yeah.
CrowleyFishFoundation.org. We'll take $1. We'll take $10. We'll take 1,000. We'll take 10,000. So, and
I'll bet you take 100.
we'll take whatever you can get, right? I mean, this is literally, and I'm not that shy or bashful about asking people for money, right? So
Good cause.
it's a good cause. Tin cup in hand. And so our website, I also want to give a shout out to Ryan Hevecan. I teach with his wife, Caroline, up at Mammoth High. He built our web page, and our web page, it's clean. It looks really great. And so we went, now, if I do the math in my head, May, June, July, August, September, October. So 17 months ago, we had our very first meeting, all right? 5, 6 of us on a Zoom account. It wasn't even mine. In any event, it grew, and it grew from, now we got vets involved, we got kids involved, we got people that are like, oh, that's so awesome what you guys are doing.
River cleanup.
Right? And we're present at other river cleanups. And last night the conversation came up at High Desert Fly Fishers about can we build ADA access river points on any fisheries in the Eastern Sierra. And this is something that our organization has already spoken about, right? And we want to partner up with other organizations too. What's the one that does Burl Ray is a big part of it. It takes breast cancer survivors fly fishing, casting for recovery.
There.
So you have all these great groups, right, that we want to work with. And so I'm asking you or anybody, right? You ask me for a job, I'm asking you for a job back again. Okay. We solicit whatever we can get, whether that's free labor or your dollars or whatever you want to offer us. We could use the help. And so it's really cool. And so right now where we stand is we're on this cusp of now being able to chase down big money. Now, what's going to become of that money? If you're going to donate Crowley Fish Foundation money, what becomes of that money? The money ultimately, outside of our normal operational expenses, Zoom account, PO box, website, little things come up like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is to be able to purchase fish from Desert Springs Fish Hatchery up in Oregon.
Okay.
They make those super beautiful rainbow trout that big ones, small ones in between, that people love catching. And so it's not a fertile fish, it's a sterile fish, but Department of Fish and Wildlife will continue to put fertile fish into the water systems, and then we will supplement that with fish that we buy from Desert Springs Hatchery, going full circle to that article that was written in the sheet 3 years ago about if the fish numbers drop, well, let's bring the fish numbers back up again.
That's it. You know what I really like about everything that you had to say?
What's that?
Is that you gave credit to everybody that credit was due.
There's
something that I believe in strongly.
There's some I left out. I mean,
I know, well, but everybody, you nailed every time you talked about it. You even though you used the words like poach or I'm taking this, but you gave credit to the people that you built your foundation off of.
Thank you, Jason. It's important.
And I think that's very important to me, to give credit where credit's due.
Right. I mean, I feel when I'm watching all of this happen around me, it's pretty cool to see the energy that it's contagious. The best word that I can say is it's a contagious thing. When one person hears what I'm doing, and I get a phone call from Roger, and say, hey, Chris, man, I want to help you out. I could be another legal advisor. What did he do? He wrote our liability release form for us, right? And then he vets other legal stuff for us. These are little things that actually matter, right? And so it's important. And so if you guys want to see, who I would like to thank, get on our website, and at the top bar there under About, it's our team. And then you can see the 11 board members and then our variety of other assistants. We have a couple videographers. We got Phil Nguyen, who lives down south, Pedro, a former student of mine, Cesenia. He's putting video together. The other thing I wanted to mention, and this is really important also as well, about the foundation, is that we are inclusive of all types of fishing, all right? And we're also inclusive of all geographical ranges for people that want to help us out. Now, what I mean by that is I think really one of our strengths is we are not fly fishing exclusive. We're not bait fishing exclusive. We're both, okay? We're not going to get into conversations of fishing regulations because that's political, all right? And once you start talking about fishing regs, you've drawn a line in the sand. And so we're not going to discuss that with the Department of Fish and Wildlife. That's their deal to work on. But we are... fly fishing starts with the 4-year-old with a little Spinco rod, right? And that 4-year-old should go and catch fish. That's the whole point of that. And the other really cool thing, I think a real strength of our team, is that we're geographically diverse. And this is the beauty of Zoom, right? Is that we have not once had an in-person meeting of all of us. Our monthly meetings and our committee meetings are all held through Zoom. And so a lot of our team members that we can't operate without are literally Southern California residents.
Wow.
The same type of person that comes up to this event, the Crowley Fish Foundation cleanup on November 1st is also now either a board member or an advisor or a financial supporter of the Crowley Fish Foundation. It's awesome.
That's just too cool.
A lot of good stuff to talk about.
That is so cool. We're gonna have you back.
I'll come back again. There'll be something else to talk about. Sure.
There's so much I can tell. Hey guys, we had the awesome privilege here. CHRIS Leonard in the studio. I'm Jason Brown, Laughing Fair Productions, Sierra Way Media. Head on out to the fish cleanup.